Do you know a person who keeps getting into one relationship after another, after another, after another? Everyone knows this person, this kind of person, kind of codependent person who has never been alone. And it's really hard for them to be alone because once you kind of get into that trend of being with somebody, you keep doing it. Instead of actually facing your fears and all the things that you hate about yourself or you dislike about yourself, you continue to be in a relationship and let the person that you're in a relationship with define who you are. It is a vicious cycle, especially when you get into this kind of pattern when you're really young, because you don't know yourself, especially when you're only 15 or 16, a teenager. You don't love yourself and you don't know yourself, and you never got the time to know yourself. So it becomes really dangerous. You become this person who has to depend on your partner for everything. So when the person leaves, you end up alone and you hate being alone. That loneliness is really hard for you to bear. You can never go to the movies alone. You can never do things by yourself. You always want to call your friends and be like, hey, can you come and hang out with me? You want someone to talk to until 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. That's something that could be really dangerous. The fear, the trauma, the hurt, you don't know how to process it. So how do you get past that? How do you get to the point where you can actually learn to love yourself again? It takes a lot of courage and time. Hopefully you have the support with your friends around you to really kind of stop you from doing so. But you have to stop yourself from doing this really vicious cycle, really toxic cycle where you keep getting into the same partner over and over again. You have to understand that, hey, I need some time alone by myself, and I need that time to understand who I am and to love myself. And it might be really scary at first, but it's almost like if you don't break the cycle, who's gonna stop you? Who's gonna literally get you out of this rut? So you have to get yourself in a situation where, you know what? I'm gonna delete all those apps. I'm not gonna meet anyone else. I'm going to focus on other things. You're gonna focus on your hobbies, your work, your life, your career. When you're alone, lonely, and also have nothing to do, that's when you find yourself falling into that trap again. It's almost like addiction, right? You're depending on another person to define who you are and kind of tell you who you are instead of taking that time to getting to know yourself. And it's really scary and really lonely at first. I get it. I've been there before when I let that person define, who I was. Especially if you fall in love with somebody who likes to be in control, that's even more dangerous, because that person will tell you who you are, what you should do, and that you should never leave that person, and they can control you completely. I hope you could get something out of this discussion to understand that being alone is the key, especially after a long relationship. And if you're this person who keeps getting into one relationship after another, you need to have some time on your own to learn to love yourself, to really get to know who you are. You have to face those fears. Then you know what you want for the next relationship. But if you've never been alone, you have to get comfortable being alone. Being alone is how you learn about yourself. Being alone is how you get to know that, hey, I am this kind of person and I need to work on myself. And I know it's scary. I know it is scary. I've been there so many times before where I just started to follow somebody else and then let that person define me. But are you gonna live like that for the rest of your life, where you let others define who you are? That's actually even scarier and lonelier than actually getting to know yourself. So face it, face those fears, face the trauma, the hurt now, and face your past now, rather than push it down the road. And maybe some people even do this until the day they die. And I think that's actually a really sad thing, to never get to know oneself.